right, taking a look at our last three problems, 7, 8, and 9, all dealing with graphs. Yay! Problem number 7. Jada purchased ingredients for smoothies, including a large bag of frozen strawberries. She makes a smoothie each morning and uses the same number of strawberries for each smoothie. The graph shows how many strawberries were left in the bag on the days after she purchased the bag of strawberries. Okay, so we've got the number of days since the bag was purchased, and then the number of strawberries in the bag. Okay, how many strawberries were in the bag 5 days after Jada bought it? Okay, so that's simply going here on the days since the bag was bought and going to 5. And then following the 5 up until we get to the line. And then where does that land on the X? 40. So after 5 days after buying the bag of strawberries, she has 40 strawberries left in the bag. How many days did it take for the bag to contain 16 strawberries? So we want to know, okay, number of strawberries in the bag. So we're looking for how many days for 16. So here's 16 on number of strawberries. I'm just going to follow that across until I get to the line. And how many days was that? 9. How many strawberries were in the bag before it was opened? So before we even opened the bag of strawberries, there were 70 strawberries because it's right between 68 and 72, and that is 70 strawberries. About how many days did it take for the bag to be empty? Now this one can be tricky, okay, because down here we're looking for when there are 0 strawberries in the bag. Well, you would say somewhere between 11 and 12, but if she's putting strawberries into smoothies once a day, she's not going to be doing it at 11 and a half days. So it's going to take 12 days before the bag is empty because there's still strawberries in the bag after 11 days. All right, problem number 8. Ooh, a group of cave explorers are going spelunking. Wow, brave. I don't like to do that. The graph shows the relationship between the explorer's elevation in feet and how much time has elapsed in minutes. So minutes is down here on the X, elevation in feet is here on the Y. What does the slope of the graph tell us in this situation? Well, we can see the line is headed in that downward fashion, which means it's a negative slope. So we know, okay, it seems to be as the minutes are increasing, the elevation is decreasing because you're going into caves, which are below ground. So let's see. Does the slope tell us that when the number of minutes increases by 5, the explorer's elevation in feet decreases by 20? So if we're increasing by 5 minutes, okay, is this a decrease of 20? Heck no, it's a decrease of a lot more elevation. Okay. The slope tells us that after 8 minutes have passed, the spelunkers are at an elevation of 225 feet. Well, let's check that. So number of minutes, here's 8. Are they at 225 feet of elevation? And the answer is no. They are they are at a lower elevation than 225 feet. Okay. The slope tells us the explorer's elevation decreases as time increases. Well, that's true because that's what the graph is showing us. As they take, the more minutes in, the lower their elevation is getting. So that is a true statement. And the slope tells us there is a fixed elevation of 320 feet. Well, that is false. If it was fixed, the line for the elevation would stay completely horizontal. The line is heading down. So the elevation decreases as the time increases, and that is our only one, letter C. Last one, number 9. 2 friends are on a road trip and are traveling at a constant rate on the highway. The graph shows their distance traveled in miles and the time spent driving in hours. So time spent driving in hours is the X, distance traveled in miles is the Y. What is the slope of the graph? Woo-hoo-hoo, slope. Okay, so once again, when we're doing slope, I don't have any, like identifying numbers, but I have a line that goes through, I call these lattice points, like right here. Okay. And I've got one that's right here. Woo. So I'm going to use those 2 points as my reference points. I am going to make a sloped triangle. Do you remember those? So I am going to follow this point here and draw a line until I get to this level. And then I'm going to take this point here and draw a line to get to that point. Oh, is this sounding familiar? Yes, it is. Hey. I am noticing that my counting bys here for the vertical are going by 20. So I'm going to count each one I move up as 20. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. So my change in Y is 200. Okay. And my X values are counting by ones, so that's cool. I'm just going to change the color on this just to make it easier to see. So from here to here is 1, 2, 3, 4. So my horizontal distance is 4, and when I divide 200 by 4, I get 50. Okay, so our slope is 50, or 50 over 1. Doesn't matter, whichever one you choose is correct, but you do need to reduce the 200 over 4. Show your reasoning. Okay, well, I used the slope triangle to determine the change in Y. Then I divided by the change in X. So change in Y was 200. Change in X is 4. 200 divided by 4 equals 50. There we go. Okay, and what does this slope tell us about the situation? Well, remember, we're talking about time spent driving in hours and distance traveled in miles. And on the slope, the top number is our Y, as our change in Y, and the Y value is the distance traveled. So this tells us that 50 miles was traveled for each hour of travel time. Yep. So 50 miles per 1 hour. Write an equation that represents the relationship between the distance traveled Y and the time spent traveling X. All right, well, if our distance traveling is Y, okay, don't forget our slope. Our slope is 50 or 50 over 1. Boom. And then our y-intercept, our starting value, well, is 0, because if they haven't spent any hours driving, they haven't traveled any distance of miles. So you can put that plus 0, or you don't have to. You can just leave it as y equals 50x.